What's going on, everybody? It's Amon-Rellik the God Slayer, Amon-Rellik Gaming, and we're back in more V-Rising for the second beginner's guide today. So you got yourself accustomed to the basics of combat. You probably killed yourself a couple of unfortunate souls, and you probably realize that you've been given the ability to feed. Today we're going to go into the mechanic of blood in this game. The crimson, the precious crimson that you will undoubtedly spend a lot of time not only maintaining but also using to your advantage in combat and in your overall adventuring and gathering. On screen you will now see a list of all the bloods available in the game and what they do, from number 1 to number 5. As the blood quality you get is higher, as it gets higher, the more of these abilities you will begin to obtain. Now, as you can see on the charts there, you see the 1, 2, 3, and 4. And if you notice them, they probably have bars across them. Each one has a bar. Now the way it works is, the higher the blood quality, the higher the quality of that buff on that line. So if we take, for instance, the scholar blood, if you look at it and you see the first column that says 1 to 10 to 20% increased spell power, the higher you get in scholar blood, not only will you begin to get access to the other buffs below it, 2, 3, and 4, but it'll also start pushing the bar on that number 1 further to being full. And so let's say that bar for number 1 is halfway full. That means you're getting a more like a 12 to 15 probably percent spell increase power. So that's how it's going to go. They're going to gradually all go up together, and the higher you get in blood quality, the more you'll access, and the higher those bars will go until you completely max it out at 100. These blood types can all be, later on in the game you'll be able to like capture humans of these blood types to where you can then just feed off of the humans in your prison. Of course, you can't feed off them indefinitely. They can die if you overfeed and if you don't keep them alive, but that's a mechanic for way later on in the game. But the only one that you cannot capture is the creature blood. And the creature blood is, as you can see, is based more around movement and things of that nature. So it's a great blood it's better than being frail. And again, frail is basically when you have no blood type whatsoever. You more than likely realize this when you started the game off, because you started the game off with frail blood. You get no bonuses whatsoever, and that is like the base blood just for survival. You usually get frail blood from drinking the blood from hearts that you get from human deaths and from rats. Those two are like they're basically your last resort when you can't get to any other blood. Even having creature blood is better than frail. So even if you can just hit a deer a couple of times and take their little 5% creature blood, it's better than having a blood type that gives having frail where you don't get any buffs whatsoever. And you'll need the hearts for later on anyway. So it's one of those last resort mechanics with the hearts and the rats. You'll be using the rats also for more technologies as you progress. But the blood types are those particular ones that you see there, the 6 that you see there. And you'll be able to see that when you hover over the enemies using your cursor. It'll show you the enemy, it'll show you their type, and then their blood type, and then it'll show you the actual percentage of their blood. And of course, the idea here is you would look at these buffs and see which ones better suit your playstyle. If you're more of a mage-like character where you like to use your abilities more than your physical attacks, then Scholar Blood might be for you. Or if you're more of a in-your-face type player, again, while the straight melee up close and personal fight style is a little more niche, it can be done. And there is a blood type that will, like, you know, synergize with it well, like the Brute. The Brute blood type might synergize with it well. If you're more into like crit damage and want to do more burst DPS, then you'll probably go with more like the Rogue. Warrior is more of like a sustained DPS style where it just overall raises your attack power. And it doesn't really focus on like doing, you know, instances of large damage, but just more consistent damage in terms of like just raising the overall attack power that you have. Of course, you got your what's the other one? Your Worker Blood, of course, and Worker Blood is going to be what you would use if you plan on doing nothing more than just going out farming. It's basically farming blood. It's blood for when you're banging on rocks, cutting down trees, you know, anything that's about you gathering from these nodes, whether it be trees, rocks, you know, vegetation of any kind, stuff like that. Worker Blood is going to be the one you want to go for. Again, remember that any damage you take in the game, you will be forced to heal through your blood. Your blood will drain quicker when you are hurt because it's going to be using that blood to heal you back to full health. So know that you will see your blood pool drain faster in combat than it will with you just standing about. You can negate this blood drain by getting into your coffin. If you jump into your coffin, your blood does not drain nearly as fast, if at all, to be quite honest. Of course, you'll be using potions and things of that nature. You know, if you're into using potions, you'll be using potions like sun resist and all this other stuff. You'll get to a point to where you'll realize that you can kind of negate some of that. Like, you won't need sun resistance potions once you start better navigating the shadows during the daylight, things of that nature. So you'll find that you'll be able to skip over certain necessities, but the blood is going to be your main. It's going to be your main source of staying alive. It's your food and water. If this were any other survival game. Again, while these buffs can be significant, they are not the end all be all to your build. You can be a mage type player and still make use of Rogue Blood, for instance, because again, you only get 2 actual spell abilities. Your other 2 are going to be your weapon abilities. So no one blood type will be useless to you, but if you're trying to truly put all of your cards into one style of play, then yeah, those blood types will allow you to actually lean as far as you possibly can into those directions. Again, at any one point in time, any blood's better than frail. And when it comes to when you would take an opponent on to get that blood, the idea is you would want to, as you see a group of enemies in your distance, before you engage them, you will want to hover your cursor over them to see which blood type you would prefer to have. And then your goal is to kill every other enemy except that one, so that you can feed on it as the last victim. And then you'll have, of course, that blood type that you need. The blood mechanic in this game isn't very complex, but it can become like a very potent part of your build if you are truly are trying to maximize a certain specific type of play style. This video wasn't really all that big of a action like video, because I don't really need to show the actions involved in this blood type, because you're more than likely have already been told to feed on somebody already, and so you know that mechanic in and of itself. But I did want to go into the understanding of using these blood types to your advantage, letting you have basically a video that you can always refer to and see all the blood types together, just in case you may forget which blood types do what, and so that you can develop that memory of knowing what they do, so that as soon as you see the person that you need, you already know that's the one you want, or the ones you just want to cast aside. And of course, just having that knowledge out there, so that the beginner players can understand the importance, while at the same time be not only the importance of the blood mechanic in terms of just survival, but the use that it can have in many different types of playstyles. So thanks guys for watching. Amon-Rellik the God Slayer, Amon-Rellik Gaming. We out of here.